Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my shop. Today we've got the new Milwaukee Sub-Compact portable bandsaw. It's the M12 version. I picked this up for, I think it was about $140 at Home Depot. It was tool only, so it didn't come with any batteries or anything, but I have a lot of use for cutting metal, smaller, angle iron and things like that, and I've been getting very tired of using an angle grinder every single time I need to cut metal. So I bit the bullet and I went and I bought a Milwaukee bandsaw. So we're gonna open this thing up and see what's in there, see how it goes together, and test it out on a couple of things and see how she works, and I'll let y'all know what I think. So let's go ahead and open this up and see what we got. Alright, comes with a blade, that's good, and the saw itself. Alright, got a good heft to it. Let me set this down. We also have our manual and just their little brochure for all their tools. Alright, I read through this already and know everything about it. Yeah. Alright, so we're going to start off here. We're going to get this blade on, kind of see how it goes. I do want to say it's nice and hefty. It yeah, it feels well built. Alright. Let's see. See that? See, we have a little adjustment for our blade tracking here if that needs to be adjusted. Let's see. It takes a okay. So this thing uses a .020 thickness blade, a 1/2 inch width, and 27 1/16 in length. It says the .020 thickness reduces flexure fatigue and provides maximum tooth life. To maximize cutting life, use a blade with the correct pitch for the specific cutting job. And then it has a little chart down here telling you what you need for cutting what. See, it says for tough stock 3/16 up to 1 5/8 inch diameter, 10 teeth per inch, thin wall 10 p. Alright, y'all can read that. And I'm not sure which blade it is they give you, but that doesn't really matter. We're going to try this thing out. It looks like a 18 tooth, the 18 teeth for thin wall tubing and thin sheets of heavier than 21 gauge. Alright, so gonna get this blade on here. These little sliders here just slide back. That's okay. They're pretty robust feeling. Look at the molding job they did on this. All that honeycombing in there, that is going to really rigidify this whole thing. Not much play in it. Nice smooth ball bearings. Alright, we're going to set it like that. Pull out our blade here. Alright, now in there, and we squeeze. That goes over that. Alright, so we close her back up. Well, let's tension it while it's open so we can see it tension. And there's the tension coming on, and we just turn this lever until it goes. That's all it is to it. I have to say that was very easy. Alright, let's close. Alright, grab us a little 12-volt battery here. Now I'm using a the XC 3.0 red lithium bit of cogging sound in there. I will say this is actually certified for one-hand use, so you know, just one hand, because it is fairly small. Alright, we're gonna do a little bit of a test on it. We just have some little conduit here. Not sure exactly what size this is, but we're gonna give it a little bit of a test and see how this thing does. I'm just gonna hold this thing here and we're gonna go through it here. No problem at all. This is gonna be nice for cutting up some metal. Alrighty, come on, focus. There it goes. You can see it's a pretty clean cut, and it only took a couple of seconds to run through that. I have a piece of angle iron, because this is really what I bought this to cut, was some nice chunky angle iron. This little 1/8 inch mild steel. It's nothing too strong, but it's what I use for a lot of just random building projects. So here we go. And it doesn't quite fit. As you can see, I'm gonna have to do a cut this way as deep as I can and kind of figure out how I'm gonna cut this thing in half, but I really think this will be able to do it. Alright, now we're going to come in from this side. Not a problem. That's excellent. You can tell that was a little large for this size bandsaw. The saw had no problem with the power, and cold to the touch right off the bat. You really can't beat that. This thing is going to be excellent. I have a feeling I'm going to pull this out 30 times a day, whether I need to cut, I mean, PVC, conduit, copper, angle iron, really just anything you want to cut. So I'm going to take a second here. I'm going to get everything set up to do a little bit of a runtime test, and we're going to see how many cuts in some where did it go? In some unistrut. Some nice thick unistrut. I think it's 1/8 inch thick. Some thick stuff. Alright, and we should be able to fit in. As you can see, it does fit in into our cut depth and everything. So I'm going to take a second and get this set up in a vise, and we'll get a little runtime test going. Alright, I've got a little bit of an awkward setup here. As you can see, I don't have a huge amount of unistrut to cut, so we're just going to do little bitty cuts. I mean, whether it's a 1/16 of an inch or cutting it in half, it's all the same to the bandsaw. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to start just taking little slices off, and we'll count once I'm done and see how many cuts we got out of one red lithium XC 3.0 battery, and see how well it does at the same time. So here we go. Okay, so we did our runtime test, got 13.5 cuts. I'll round that up to 15 just because I cut a piece of angle iron and a piece of conduit before I started the test. So let's say 15 cuts through some 1/8 inch material. You know, it's not exactly a straight line or angle iron, it's a little bit more material, but you get the idea. And that was with an XC 3.0 battery. The teeth still seem to be in pretty good shape after all that running. And see, on the inside we didn't get a lot of buildup of metal or anything like that, nothing crazy. The other side here, I mean, we got some, but that's to be expected. So she did start running a little bit hot. The gear case right here is a little bit warm, the motor's a little bit warm, and the battery's a little warm, but I mean, that was a non-stop running the entire time on this 12-volt battery. So in summary, I would say it is an excellent saw. I mean, if you're grabbing a portable battery powered bandsaw, you're not about to go do 500 cuts and use it all day long. More than likely you're an electrician cutting some conduit, and or you're a welder and you just need to do a couple of cuts and you want to pull out a little bandsaw instead of your big one. So in a lot of instances it makes sense to use a small bandsaw like this. The portability and just the function of it makes it a lot better for smaller things such as conduit and angle iron. I could really see this thing being useful in many occasions, especially if you have a couple extra batteries. I mean, if you had the 4.0 or even the 6.0 that I believe they have now, you could do a lot of cutting with this and get a lot of work done. I would recommend the saw to anybody who needed a bandsaw. It's a good bandsaw. If you don't need the huge big full out bandsaw that you know, goes for I think $300 for a corded version from Milwaukee, you can go with this, especially if you already have your 12-volt batteries. I didn't see this in a kit where you could get batteries and a charger with it. I already had some batteries, so it was a good deal for me. There's a little bit of damage on the box and they knocked 10% off of it, and it was a good deal. I got also a box of replacement blades. This comes with 3 of them. It's 18 teeth per inch, and it's good for, as you can see, unistrut like we have, all thread and conduit, and then copper. So you can imagine this thing would be handy in so many situations. I'm definitely going to be pulling it out quite frequently, and considering that 3 blades was less than $20, it's very cheap for the blades for it as well. So, you know, for the time that you would be able to use this blade compared to, say, an abrasive blade and a 4.5 inch grinder, you're going to be wasting a lot of power making some heat and sparks and everything. So I'd say, all in all, I would definitely recommend this saw to anyone who needed a bandsaw, and say that it is a good version to go for. It is the 2429-20, and yeah, it's an excellent little piece of gear. I would definitely get it if you needed a bandsaw. Alrighty, well everyone, thank you for hanging out with me in the shop today. Come back next week. I'll be doing something else. There's no telling in this shop what I'll be doing. So come back in, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one.